All right, let's get into it. We are launching a full-blown investigation into one of the world's most beloved and, let's be honest, most suspicious foods. That's right, we are talking about cheese. We're going to peel back the foil and find out why it is so darn irresistible.
Okay, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever found yourself just staring into the fridge, daydreaming about that block of cheddar with an intensity that feels, well, a little much? If you have, you are definitely not alone, and you might not be crazy after all.
So check this out. Here's our first piece of evidence. A University of Michigan study actually ranked the most addictive foods. And guess what took the top spot? Pizza. But here's the kicker. The researchers found the real culprit wasn't the crust or the sauce. Nope. It was the cheese. So this tells us it isn't just about taste. Something else is going on here.
Okay, so let's get into the science of it all. To really understand what's happening inside our brains, we need to identify our primary suspect, a chemical that's been hiding in plain sight in every single slice of cheese. Everybody meet casein. Now, it's a protein that's in all dairy products, but it has a secret. Research from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai found that when we digest casein, it releases compounds that trigger the brain's opioid receptors. Yes, you heard that right, opioid receptors, the very same ones that respond to certain drugs.
Right about now, you're probably thinking, well, hold on, I drink milk and I don't feel addicted. And that's a fair point. But here's why cheese is different. It's basically hyper-concentrated milk. It takes a whopping 10 pounds of milk to make just 1 pound of cheese. That means you are getting a much, much more potent dose of casein in every single bite.
So let's break down exactly how this whole thing works. It's called the Casomorphin effect. First, you eat that delicious piece of cheese. Then, your body gets to work digesting the casein protein. Step 3, this process releases little compounds called casomorphins. And finally, those casomorphins head straight for your brain, and they hit the dopamine receptors, giving you that little hit of pleasure and reward.
And just so we're crystal clear about this, casomorphins, they're opioids. They are in the same chemical family as morphine. Now, of course, they are nowhere near as strong, but they're definitely potent enough to create that calming, satisfying feeling that makes you reach for another bite and then another.
But here's the thing. Our primary suspect, casein, it doesn't act alone. It is part of a powerful trio of ingredients that makes cheese almost impossible to resist. This, my friends, is where the plot thickens. We like to call this the magical combination that our brains are just hardwired to crave. So you've got the opioid effect from casein, which we just talked about. Then you add in a high fat content, which also triggers the reward center in your brain. And to top it all off, a high salt content, which makes it incredibly moreish. You know, that feeling of just wanting more and more and more. And believe me, the salt is not a minor player in this. Just how much are we talking about? Well, a single slice of American cheese can contain a staggering 21% of your recommended upper daily limit for sodium. That is a huge amount for just one thin little slice. And you know what? It gets even more complicated. When you are stressed out, your body releases hormones like cortisol, which actually makes your brain's reward centers more sensitive to comfort foods. So that stressful day at work, it is literally priming your brain to crave a cheesy pizza. It's this powerful psychological and biological loop. So we've laid out all the evidence. We have our suspect, we have its accomplices, and we have a clear motive. But what is the final verdict here? Is cheese truly addictive, or is it just a uniquely delicious food? Let's weigh the arguments. On one side, the case for addiction, it looks pretty strong. I mean, we know it triggers the same parts of the brain as some drugs, and it contains those opioid-like casomorphins. But on the other side, the case for it's just delicious argues that, okay, while it might be mildly addictive, it's not dangerous in the same way, and hey, it even offers health benefits like protein and calcium. And really, that's the key distinction, isn't it? As Healthline points out, even if cheese has all these properties, it's not a dangerous substance. It's simply a food with a really complex chemical makeup that our brains happen to find incredibly rewarding. And look, this research isn't just some fun fact to share at a party. As researcher Dr. Nicole Avina points out, understanding this response is a huge first step. It could help us understand food addiction on a much broader scale, and maybe even change how we treat conditions like obesity. It shows us it's not always just about willpower. Now, maybe after hearing all of this, you're thinking you might want to cut back a little bit. Well, for anyone looking to break the cheese spell, there is a clear escape plan. Let's walk right through it. So if you want to dial it back, here's a simple 3-step plan. First up, know your why. Are you doing it for a specific health goal? Getting clear on your motivation is half the battle. Second, adapt, don't just eliminate. So instead of piling on the cheese, try amplifying other flavors. Think savory mushrooms, sweet caramelized onions, maybe some spicy peppers on that pizza. And third, explore the alternatives. Come on, the non-dairy cheese aisle is bigger and better than it has ever been, so it's a great time to experiment.
And if you're thinking, but wait, what about my calcium? Don't worry, we've got you covered. You do not need dairy to get your fix. Dark leafy greens like kale and spinach are packed with it. So are beans, lentils, and nuts like almonds. Plus, most plant-based milks these days are fortified with plenty of calcium, making it super easy to hit your daily goal.
So, we've looked at the science, the psychology, and the solution. The evidence is pretty clear. Cheese has this unique and powerful hold on our brains. The final verdict? Well, it's complicated. So, the next time you find yourself reaching for that slice, just ask yourself, is this just a snack, or is it a craving you're answering? The truth might be a little bit of both.